Hey there blues fans, John here with the Blues Guitar Institute, and this is your Tuesday Blues lesson number 157. Today we're going to talk about the first step that you should take on your way to freedom on the fretboard. What we're going to talk about today was one of the two major light bulbs that really sparked my playing and really helped me open up the fretboard and make sense of this crazy maze of strings and frets. And the thing that I'm talking about is to actually learn the note names on all the strings at all the fret points up and down this neck. It really will help you make sense of playing. There's a couple of other good reasons to really learn the note names, and not the least of which is that it makes you more musical and it helps you speak the language of music. You can't really play with a piano player or somebody playing a non-fretted instrument and tell them that we're jamming on the 4th fret, because they're not going to have any sort of context for what that is. However, the common language that we speak is all about note names. So I'm talking about A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to give you my simple, straightforward plan to help you memorize the neck. So the first step along your path to learning and memorizing all of the note names on the fretboard is to simply learn the names of the open strings. Now in BGI lessons, I typically refer to the strings by their number. So going from the lowest sounding string, that's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The reason is simple. You can absolutely tune your guitar to different pitches. So if you assign a note name to a string and we're talking about different pitches, things can get very confusing. But for most of your playing, a lot of us guitar players stay in standard tuning. So that means that very typically, well, when you're playing in standard tuning, always, you're going to hear an E note when you play this 6th string. And when you play the 5th string, that's an A. This 4th string is a D, and then a G, the 3rd, and a B on the 2nd string, and then the 1st string is an E. That's a repeat. We've got 2 E's sounding here. Again, this is all from the context of standard tuning. So real quick, E, going from low to high, E, A, D, G, B, and then E. It's the very first step that you should take. That's going to help you really start getting a sense of the guitar, and you know, it also helps you when you're using an electronic tuner. If you know what pitch you're going to, you can work those things and get in tune and really sound nice. The second step is to learn the natural notes along the 6th string. So what do I mean by natural notes? We've probably heard about sharps and flats, a C sharp or a D flat. You've probably heard that tossed around. But really, you can ignore that for right now. I really want you to pay attention to the natural notes. Those are the notes that don't have sharp or flat after it. So just talking about A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just the letter names. If we go to the 6th string, we know that our open string is going to be our lowest pitch, and we already said that's E. So what I want to do now is show you where those natural notes occur on the fretboard on the 6th string. So we've got E, then F is at the 1st fret. Next would be G, 3rd fret. And we're going to start over. So A is at the 5th fret. Then we go 7th fret for B, up a fret to fret 8 for C, and then up 2 frets at the 10th fret for D. And then we can finish off at the 12th fret with our E. So a quick recap, we've got E, F, G, A, B, C, E. The third step that I want you to take along memorizing all of the note names is, once you've got a really good handle on the names for the open strings and the natural notes up the 6th string, then move on and learn the natural notes up the 5th string. So we know that that one's starting with A as our lowest pitch. So we're going to come next on a B at the 2nd fret. Then C is at the 3rd fret. D is at the 5th fret. E is at the 7th fret. F is at the 8th. And then G at the 10th, followed by another A at the 12th. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. We only have 7, and then the octave makes it 8 notes here. Once you have the open strings memorized and then the natural notes on the 6th and 5th string memorized, then sort of solving for the other 4 strings becomes infinitely easier. So what we're going to do to help us is use some octaves. An octave simply means that, like we did this open 6th string here is an E, but this is also an E. It's really got that same character as an E, and it sounds really nice if you go E, E, or play a couple of E's that are an octave apart. But one is definitely higher than the other, and that's what the octave is all about. It's higher in pitch, but it's still also the same note name. So E here and an E here. We're going to make use of the octave layout on the fretboard to help us solve for the natural notes that would occur on strings 4, 3, 2, and 1, as you'll see. So the octave shape that we can use when we're looking at the 6th string is put your finger down on, say, F. Let's find the F note using an octave. Well, the octave shape that comes in handy here is kind of like this power chord, maybe you're familiar with, where you've got your ring finger here, 2 frets up. But drop a string, so we want to skip a string here, and then this shape will be an octave. So because we know that's an octave, and we know this is an F, this is an F. Now let's back up, and we need to get that E. You can think of the E, because we've got an open string to contend with, as being this shape. So our E octave on the 4th string is here at the 2nd fret. Then, with what you know about the 6th string, you can move up, and you automatically know the octave, and therefore the note name on the 4th string. So E, F, really focusing on this and just letting this finger fall and not really move out of this shape. So E, F, G, A, B, C, the 4th string, and you'll see this octave approach applies to other strings as well. It's really important to focus on the 4th string. You want to know that no matter what finger you're playing with, that note right here is an E, and it will help you to sort of visualize this to get you there. You could pick any note along the 4th string by the end of this method, and you'll be able to do that. Like here, we know that this is a C, so this is a C. Even if you're playing with this, just sort of visualize your hand there if it takes you a second to figure out that this note is a C. So let's move on to the 3rd string. We're going to use an octave off of the 5th string to help us figure out the notes along the 3rd string. Let's do the same thing. So we can make this shape like we did before, where we're skipping a string and up 2 frets. But here we've got the same thing kind of happening. So our A, you can view it this way. So this is an A, 2nd fret, 3rd string. Our next natural note is a B, which we said was here. So let's find the B on the 3rd string, be the 4th fret. And we can just walk this pattern up, this shape up. C, I'm not going to play the 5th string after this. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now we're we're going to talk about the way to use the octaves to help you figure out the second string. There's a little bit of a different octave shape, but the concept is still there. We're going to use a string that we know the natural notes on, and we're going to use that as a reference point to help us figure out the second string notes as long as we keep that octave shape constant. So here's the shape that we're going to go for. We know that this is a B, and we know that our open string is a B. So let's use this as our octave shape. And it might help to use it like almost like this C chord shape, so that you're keying it off of the fifth string, but you're using your ring finger. It's going to come in handy as we start moving up the neck. So view this octave shape like this, as if you've got your finger down on the nut here. That kind of compensates for the fact that there's an open string ringing. So there's our B. We know that's an open B on the second string. And if we hold that shape and think about the fifth string here, we can walk up. Next natural note is C, and that's here on the fifth string, third fret. So that means that this is a C here on the first fret of the second string. Then we can walk up and hold this shape constant. D, E. Again, I'm thinking more about the fifth string here. Then F, then G. We start back at A, and then B, because we know that this 12th fret is an octave up, and that's a B. So here we go, just showing you the visual reference for the fifth string note, or the lower octave, but not playing it. Once you have the notes on all of the other strings figured out, then you're left with the first string. And that is actually a copy of what's happening on the sixth string, because we're tuned to E here and here. It's an octave apart. So the octave rule applies. It's just that we can skip all the strings in between and really just match what we know about the sixth string note names and put that on the first string. So we've got E, C, D, and then E. And that's the final octave key. It's that maybe you've picked up on it by now, but if this is an E, this is an E, the 12th fret. Things repeat themselves above the 12th fret. So A, D, D, G, G, B, B, and then E and E. Now, if you do this and you really commit to spending a few minutes each day to memorizing this pattern, this octave pattern that moves you up and down the fretboard with the note names, that is going to really help skyrocket your knowledge about the fretboard. And I intentionally left out a lot of the other notes. We just focused on the natural notes in this lesson, in this method. However, the final step is, once you know the natural notes, where they occur on the fretboard at each string, then it's time to come in and fill in the sharps or flats. And really, once you've got a good command of the natural notes, then figuring out a sharp or a flat is not that hard. If you're here at this G note that we already know, we know this is a G because this is the third fret of the sixth string. If you want to find where a G sharp is, it's right next to it. And because we know this is a G, G sharp, right next to it, one fret up. If we said find G flat instead, we could go from here down. Okay? That's how that works. So really, I view the sharps and the flats as kind of the filler after you've mastered the natural notes. It's a whole lot easier and more straightforward to think about the natural notes as they occur on the neck, and then adjust for sharps and flats. Okay, let's recap the plan. The first thing that you'll need to do is learn the note names of the open strings, and then move on to step 2, which is to learn the natural notes up the sixth string. And then for step 3, you do that again, but with the fifth string in mind instead of the sixth. Then for the fourth step, you're going to use what you've learned in step 2 and 3 and apply an octave reference point to help you figure out the notes along strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then finally, the last step is to go back after you've got a command of the first 4 steps and basically all of the natural notes as they occur on the fretboard, go back and fill in the sharps and flats, which should be really easy after you know so much about the note names from the other steps combined. So I hope you found this really helpful. Again, this is a very crucial and important part of a guitar player's study. You really have to get a command of the note names to help you speak the language of music, and it really helps to set you on fire when it comes to learning chord construction and interval theory and things that have really helped me take my playing to another level. There's more on that stuff coming up in Tuesday Blues, but now you've got to build the foundation and make sure that you know the note names up and down the fretboard. So use this straightforward plan, and if you like this video and you want to see more just like it, then hit the thumbs up and give me a like, and then also hit the subscribe button. It's a great way to show your support for the BGI channel. That's it for this lesson. I'll see you next Tuesday as we cover some other cool topics to help you really gain a ton of freedom on the fretboard. Until then, practice smart and play on.